Who are you? Please tell us about yourself.
Okay, well, my name is June Kathryn Minix, and I'm an American mother of 5. I have 4 boys and 1 girl. They range from 20, almost 21, to my little 4-year-old. And I'm an activist and a humanitarian, and I am the founder of Women for Ukraine.
Wow, super. 5 children, it's very lot. Wow, I don't know how you do it.
One day at a time. We do it one day at a time.
Yes. Okay. Where did the idea of helping women and your organization, Women from Ukraine, come from?
The organization was born because of the war itself. And because I am a woman and a mother, that really helped to establish the organization's identity and our path. And our organization's mission is to bring awareness to the most critical issues that are facing Ukrainian women in an active war zone or in conflict zones. And we do this through advocacy, action, and diverse global relationships. And additionally, Women for Ukraine is an organization that really embraces and embodies a woman's strength and our compassion. And so we also aim to provide additional programs, initiatives, and educational awareness rooted and reflective of those characteristics.
Wow, your work is great. You're a great woman, really.
Thank you so much. Thank you. We are doing the best that we can every day to help Ukraine in some way. So thank you so much.
It's amazing, really. Tell us about your Families for Families campaign and the Sunday this Woman for Ukraine.
Okay, so our Families for Families campaign is very important. It's a critical campaign for us, and it's all based on the forced deportation of Ukrainian children. This is a war crime. What a lot of people don't realize is that anytime you forcibly deport children, this is actually an act of genocide. And our Families for Families campaign is all about family units coming together, children or mothers, fathers, aunts, and uncles, families like yours and mine, and taking a very public and vocal stand against the forced deportation of Ukrainian children. And a family that we believe is a child's most important voice, their most important advocates. And there's no better way to show this than families coming together from all over the world to give these children a voice and to ensure that this atrocity that is taking place as we speak stays front and center in everyone's minds. And so this is an extremely important campaign that we have been running for several months. And our Sundays with Women for Ukraine, it came about in an interesting way. Several months ago, I reached out to a popular Russian blogger, and I asked her if she wouldn't mind if I interviewed her. And she has just hundreds of thousands of followers on all the different platforms that she's on. So I wanted to ask her, why she wasn't bringing more of an awareness to the Russian people as far as what is happening in Ukraine. I thought that perhaps, she had this wonderful ability to let the Russian people know, the truth of what is happening. And so I wanted to ask her that and much, much more. I told her that it would be a tough interview. And so we were all set to have the interview. And unfortunately, she backed out a couple of hours before. But I thought, well, let's not let this type of platform, this new idea, go to waste. So I came up with Sundays with Women for Ukraine, and we are interviewing different people and organizations that are really helping to do phenomenal things for Ukrainians and for Ukraine itself.
About your Brussels, visiting Brussels, tell us about the event in Brussels.
Well, the event was held in Brussels. It was the 8th Women's Congress, and it took place over 3 days. And the first day we spent in European Parliament. There were quite a lot of addresses by politicians, as well as Ukrainian politicians who videoed in. And that was really the start of the 3-day conference. And it was, the days were filled with panel discussions, presentations. We had readings by famous authors, and of course addresses by politicians. So it was just, it was a fabulous 3 days, just varied in content. It was great. Well, this year's Congress was based on feminist Ukraine, a new geopolitical sisterhood. So the nature of the Congress itself was feminist. And so everything was focused on the issues that affect us the most, everything from our roles in society to government to abortion, just everything, a broad spectrum of things that affect women. And I was asked to attend and speak at the conference due to the work that I've been doing to bring awareness towards the use of rape as a weapon of war in Ukraine. And this past May, on May 28th, Women for Ukraine held a massive global action against the use of rape as a weapon of war in Ukraine. And this took place simultaneously on 5 continents in 38 cities worldwide. So I was asked to make a keynote presentation on that. And I also was asked to hold a workshop on the protest itself and then perform it live for the attendees of the conference.
Okay, it's very fine, very interesting, I think. What do you think about the deportation of Ukrainian children and sexual exploitation of children? It's horror. It's really horrors.
It is absolutely. The deportation of Ukrainian children is absolutely it's horrible, as you said. It's a horrific element in this war that has been waged by Russia, that follows a long list of atrocities that are being committed against the Ukrainian people. And this war isn't just about Putin trying to turn Europe's borders back into that of the former Soviet Union. I really believe that one of the goals of this war is to eliminate the Ukrainian people and the Ukrainian culture and to achieve total submission. And one of the ways to accomplish this is to start with children. They really are the nucleus of any society, and forcibly removing a child from their country, their parents, and everything they know, and transporting them to Russia, where everything that makes them Ukrainian is systematically erased. It's absolutely one of the most disgusting and shocking elements of this war. And as far as the children being targeted for sexual exploitation, Russia has a very long history with committing sexual violence and sexual atrocities. And we've seen this in Syria, Georgia during World War II. So it's really almost within their nature. It seems to be something that is supported at the top levels of government. So the fact that children are being targeted themselves, it's not surprising. It just is not surprising, unfortunately.
Now I have another questions. What do you think about the filtration camps and sending Ukrainians to Russia?
Well, the war, my background is in Holocaust studies, and the war in Ukraine very much mirrors the events of the Holocaust. And the establishment of filtration camps is just, I believe, one of the many examples. The establishment of the filtration camps as a mechanism for deportation, intimidation, torture, it's not something that belongs in warfare in the 21st century. It's very barbaric and very primitive. And it's as primitive as it is, it's a calculated maneuver in this war, and to set up these types of these camps in which to filter Ukrainians through to Russia is just something. It's mind-boggling.
Why did Russia create these camps? How you think?
Well, we know that through the State Department, the OSCE, and even Yale University, that there are over 21 different filtration camps, and these are primarily primarily in the Donetsk Oblast area. And there's mounting evidence that actually these filtration camps were set up before the full-scale invasion began. So it was planned. And in order to have a camp listed within these reports that are issued, they have to corroborate by five different resources. So they all have to have the same location, the same activities occurring. Like I said before, the camp can be established in a report. And 21 different sites either met or exceeded that evidence. And it carries out many different functions. And they are set up for registration, they are set up for holding, they are set up for interrogation, they are set up for torture, and most importantly, they are set up for deporting Ukrainians.
Do you know how the filtration process goes?
Yes, so there appears to be 4 different functions, and I kind of mentioned this a little earlier. That kind of go into creating the greater filtration process. And so some of these locations are either responsible for some of these processes or all of them. And the processes or the different steps, are registration, holding, secondary interrogations, and detention itself. And hundreds of thousands of Ukrainians are believed to have gone through these different facilities. They are detained, they are interrogated, and of course they are deported. And the civilians as well, they're really imprisoned for long periods of time at these facilities, but they are also murdered at these facilities. And we know through very published reports that are, accessible to anyone, there is satellite imagery of disturbances within the ground around some of these camps. And as the months go on, the disturbances in the ground have gotten bigger. And of course, this is reminiscent of mass graves.
Tell us about, what do you think about the documents? I'm sure it's documents in video.
Yes,
and do you have any other documents confirming the deportation of Ukrainians and Ukrainians' children?
Well, these documents are significant, I feel, for two specific reasons. Number one, Russia is smart enough to know that in war, there's evidence that can be collected through the international community concerning war crimes and atrocities that are taking place. And while evidence collected by the international community can sometimes be reduced to accusations or evidence of atrocities taking place that actually come from the source, it's undisputed. And so, given that these documents were released by an employee working within the framework of deportations, that is for us extremely significant. The second reason is because of who sent them. And, you have a woman that sent these documents, fully knowing the risk to herself, the possible risk to her family. And she sent these documents as a woman and a mother. And it wasn't about the fact that she was Russian or an employee of a state-run department. Despite her labels, she really acted upon her humanity. And I think that this is key to the significance of the documents. And no, those are the only documents that we received from her, aside with just some personal email correspondence that her and I had, just talking to each other as normal women, as mothers.
Yeah, why people? How you think? Why people silent about this? And when we can stop with her? How you think?
This is really a fascinating and highly complex question that at the same time almost has a bit of a simple answer to it. And that's because, I feel that there are so many simultaneous atrocities being committed in Ukraine, and some are focused on more than others. And the bottom line of this war's narrative is the need to supply Ukraine with modern and effective weapons as quickly as possible. And if those needs are met, then the war stops and the atrocities stop. So I believe that it isn't necessarily that people aren't talking about the deportation of Ukrainian children. It's the fact that people are more focused on the weapons that Ukraine needs. And when you have a war as horrific as what's happening in Ukraine, you are almost forced to triage the events taking place. And the deportation of Ukrainian children seems to fall more towards the bottom because we have, the need for weapons. We have the fact that Russia is trying to annihilate critical infrastructure. So there's all these different things happening, and it's hard to bring 100% of focus to every single atrocity happening. And that's why I think the deportation of Ukrainian children kind of gets put at the bottom.
Yeah, it's right. It's right. I want to think about this, but it's right. Did you communicate with people who were in the camps?
No, I have not communicated with anyone that has been held in a filtration camp. I would like to speak with someone that has been released from such a camp, but those that have been through the filtration process and even imprisoned have shared their stories with the world. So, at least we have that. But for myself, yes, I would love to be able to sit down and speak with somebody that has been through that process.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Do people leave their camps, and what happens to them?
Well, we Yes, people do leave the camps. People are released, and because people are released, thank God. It doesn't happen for everyone, but because these people that are released, we do have substantial and very detailed evidence about these camps, what occurs inside them, and what policies are created by the Russian government and carried out within these type of camps.
It's finally questions, yes, for this video, but very important. It's very important for my viewers, for me, for another people. What would you like to tell people? How can my viewers and another people help the Ukrainians people, yes, themselves?
Well, I think the most important thing that I would like to tell people is that a lack of action with the knowledge of what is taking place, it's the same as carrying out those atrocities yourself. So everyone is capable of doing something. Discuss what is happening. Post articles that you have read, hold actions, engage in political advocacy, become an ambassador for women for Ukraine, and never think that you are not able to make a difference. Just one person can cause a spark that will ignite a global fire. And most importantly, never underestimate the power of you as a citizen within your own country, because it is the population that elects its officials, and we elect them to carry out our will. And we're their bosses, which means that applying pressure to them and demanding action and accountability for the issues that we want addressed is their duty. And the deportation of Ukrainian children is all of our government's duty to speak about, to try and stop, to help provide Ukraine with the resources that it needs to find these children and to prosecute these people that are removing these poor little babies to the fullest extent. So our voice and just deciding within ourselves to do something every day to bring awareness to it is something that is absolutely important and critical and doable.
Yeah.
It's a very doable thing.
Yeah, I hope it's very important. We must talk about this. We must repost it. We must send it. It's very important. Yeah, it's right.
Absolutely. And I thank you so much for giving my organization a platform. This is important, and you're contributing to the overall awareness of what is going on. And so I thank you from the bottom of my heart for doing this. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your amazing work, for your great work. It's amazing what you're doing for Ukrainian people. Thank you from everyone Ukrainian people. Thank you very much.